Hey, my name is Audrey Stallings. I am an advanced animal care specialist here at the Greensboro Science Center, and I've been here for 13 years.
Hello, I'm John Rossi. I'm a touring drummer with a passion for animal conservation. When I'm on the road, I spend as much time as possible visiting zoos, aquariums, and conservation organizations. Now, I want to share those places with you. I'll be talking to keepers, vets, conservationists, anyone who can help me in my mission of connecting my people to animals through their people. Join me on my Rossifari. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to the Rossifari podcast. All right, y'all, so this week we are going back to the Greensboro Science Center, and spoiler alert, I'm still not getting a volunteer hoodie. But outside of that, it's a really great interview because actually this is a person who y'all have never heard of, but who features very largely in Rossifari lore. And I'm talking about my guest, Audrey Stallings, because when I first knew I was going to be visiting Greensboro and wanted to connect with them about the podcast, I reached out kind of randomly in a couple of different places, and Audrey is the person who got back to me. And so Audrey is the one who connected me with all of the different people. And whether it is the stuff with Miso and the red panda kindergarten class, or the Bentlets, or, you know, a baby pygmy hippo, or lemurs, or me not getting a volunteer hoodie, any of those things, it all comes from Audrey being willing to trust me and reach out and make those right connections. And I'm incredibly grateful for that, obviously. Every tradition that we have with Greensboro is because of her. Even Bekah interrupting interviews, which, yes, it happens again this episode. Lucky us. Yay, tradition. No, but seriously, I'm so thankful, and it's so cool to finally have Audrey on as a guest. And Audrey is a huge fan of herps, and we talk about some venomous stuff and some other cool things, and I think it's a really fun interview. I really enjoy this one. So we'll get to it in a minute, but before we do, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Make sure you're following along on the socials at Rossifari, on TikTok at Rossifari Pod, Patreon.com/Rossifari is how you support the pod. And don't forget to join our Discord. And with all of that said, I think it's time to get to it. So yeah, here is my interview with Audrey Stallings of the Greensboro Science Center. Enjoy, y'all. Nice. Okay. Very cool. And nice to have you on the pod. We have a history, but we also just met today.
Yes.
Which is why all of this world is so weird and interconnected. So before I had all these connections here, I knew I was coming here, and I knew I wanted to meet people and feature this facility on the podcast. So I put a post on a private Facebook group, and you responded. Mm-hmm. And you were like, yeah, I can connect you with people.
Yeah.
And you connected me with people. And those people all came to say hi, but you didn't come to say hi. And in all the times I have been here, literally like a dozen plus trips, we have never had the chance to meet. So first of all, thank you. And second of all, what the heck did I ever do to you?
You're fine. No, first, you're welcome. Well, it's just I put you in contact with the people you wanted to talk to.
Yes,
so I was like, here you go. So I didn't see myself as very important. It's like, hey, I put you in contact with the person that you wanted to talk to, so I did my job.
Fair enough. But I'm glad to finally have you on here because, like, in my brain, you would have been my first interview here instead of like my, 346. But I'm glad to have you on. So let's talk about. I want to start off by talking about just some of the animals you take care of now. Mm-hmm. And I got to see two of them today.
Yes.
In a very special way. So tell me about those snakes.
Yeah, so we just moved our two new Aruba Island rattlesnakes up to the main museum. Unfortunately, people will not get to see them right now. They are off exhibit, but they are here for the new biodome whenever that opens sometime next year. But I do take care of our Komodo dragon, our Aldabra tortoises. I am now taking care of our lemurs, our ringtails and red ruffs, and our radiated tortoises, along with some other herps like corn snakes or cottonmouth, dart frog, things like that.
I have so many questions about how you throw lemurs into that, but we'll get there. But so let's talk about these. Let's talk about the Aruba Island rattlesnakes, because I think a lot of people don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
So let's tell people about them, just in general, like the species.
Yeah, so I'm still learning a lot about them myself because I've never worked with a non-North American venomous species. So these guys are critically endangered. These guys were born at the Toledo Zoo, where their headquarters are. They are brothers. So they can't do any type of breeding. So if we wanted to do breeding in the future, we would need to swap out one for a female. But these guys are only found on the island of Aruba, and there's maybe 250 individuals left.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That is not a lot.
No.
So is there a conservation effort to try to increase the population? Is there anything going on with that? What's that deal?
So from what I know is that several zoos around the U.S. have them, so they are breeding them. I'm not sure of any efforts that are going on the island itself, which there are, but I haven't done a lot of research to tell you about it. But I know there are some going on, and the zoos, the AZA facilities in the zoos are trying to breed them.
Cool. Very good. And why were they in such a bad mood today? Because holy cow.
Yeah, so they are rattlesnakes, so they're already kind of on the, I wouldn't say mad part, but just, kind of wary of things. So they had their quarantine exit exam today, so we had to put them in a tube so we could safely work with them. And they got microchipped because we can't really tell them apart right now. So they weren't very happy about being messed with and handled like that. So I would only handle them maybe a few times a year.
Sure. Now I'm curious because I'm really obsessed with training, and I don't. I love herps. I love herps. Turtles were my first favorite animal, and as a matter of fact, the first time I came here, I saw the most beautiful diamondback terrapin I have ever seen, and I am still obsessed with the one photo I got of it, just because, what a gorgeous turtle, right? But so I don't know a ton about venomous. I've gotten some cool experiences with some venomous animals. But so are they like? Is it one of those things where you could train them to be calmer if you did handle them more? Or is it just in their nature where they're just going to be like, no, F off always?
Yeah, a lot of venomous are more like just, stay away from me. With these guys, because of how venomous they are, I probably wouldn't do any training. But then you also have to worry about, especially with snakes, how much food they're going to take and willing to eat, because you don't want to overcondition them.
Right.
We are training our black rat snake, but she's a little different than rattlesnakes. But like our cottonmouth, he's not trained or anything, but it's not affecting his welfare at all.
No, that makes sense. I totally, snakes are, but I was just curious. It's funny. I got to handle a wonderful, very long black rat snake.
Nice.
Very early on in my Rossifari days. And the snake was put on my arms and kind of draped a little bit, whatever, right? And I swear to God, the keeper, to this day, I will say, that she misspoke. She will say I misheard. Either one is fine. But she said, so this is a black rattlesnake.
Oh.
And it was one of the few times in my life that I have been around an animal. I was like, this is not okay. And I was like, excuse me? And she's like, no, it's a black rat snake. It's fine. Or I think I said rattlesnake, and she, whatever it was. And I just remember this moment of like, why are you draping a rattlesnake on me? And you, weirdly, did not drape these guys on me, and instead were very careful that we could not see them until they were back in their habitat,
Yes.
But what kind of precautions, other than keeping loudmouth podcasters away, do you have to take when dealing with venomous snakes?
So with our guys, when we go in, there's always two of us. So one to watch the snake and one to do any husbandry tasks, whether that's change water, take temperatures, things like that. And then what we have is we've got hooks and tongs we can use, but we also have a block. So we've got a piece of wood, like kind of on a dowel almost, so we can actually block the snake off safely while we enter the exhibit. So that is for all of our venomous. Granted, we have kind of dwindled down in our numbers, but with our cottonmouth and these two snakes, that's exactly what we'll do.
That's really cool. That makes a lot of sense, because they would have struck. Like if you were in there, they would absolutely have struck. And I tend to know, I'm a big proponent of snakes are awesome and we shouldn't mess with them and all of that stuff. But they were mad.
Yeah.
And they were rattling hard and they were
They were.
hissing. We could hear them through the door.
Oh, yeah.
And then when we actually went in to see them, like, it was loud.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see, though, you know? And I get why people will see something like that and be afraid. But to me, it was just such a cool thing to see. Would not want to encounter in wild.
Oh, yeah, no.
If I did, would walk away, you know? Because even then, they give you this great warning, right? Like, one thing I think is so many people are like, oh, you know, a snake will attack you, whatever, rattlesnake would attack you. But they warn you.
Yep.
That's what they do. The whole thing is they don't want to attack you. Like,
correct.
You know, so yeah, it was really, really cool to see that in action. Now, you mentioned that they are going to be in the biodome.
Yes.
And not wandering freely, I assume.
No.
But I'm always curious. So, like, with species that are hard to love for some people, how do you think about the education and the presentation of them to hopefully make it a positive experience for the people that see them?
Yeah, for as long as I've been here, that's kind of like a goal for me. It's been like, hey, I know a lot of people are afraid of snakes, but I want to show you that they're actually really cool and good for the environment. So I will do the same thing with these two and kind of show them off a little bit. Like, look at their pattern and kind of the cool facts about them, and then be like, hey, you know, these guys are critically endangered, but rattlesnakes help the environment. They keep pests down and things like that. So it has been a goal of mine as long as I've been here to be like, to advocate for these snakes, because a lot of people are like, ew, I don't want to even go in the room. And then some people were like, oh, cool, snakes. And since we've kind of taken a lot of ours off exhibit, people keep asking, where are your snakes? Because we want to see them.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it's really fun to see. And sad at the same time, because I'm like, unfortunately, we don't have a lot on exhibit right now.
Right. But you will. They'll be back. And yeah, at a yet to be determined time. Yeah. But it's going to be awesome. The biodome looks incredible. I've gotten to see some of the stuff, you know, the model and everything. And whew, it looks good. It looks real good. So... Another animal that we saw back there was about as far away from a rattlesnake as you can be, but really just wanted to be our besties. And I would be remiss to not have you share that animal's story. So,
which one?
Puppy?
Oh, Pup.
Yeah.
Yes. So Pup is one of our prehensile-tailed skinks. I love him to death. He is one of our older residents at 25 years old.
All right.
Yeah, so he's been here since I was here and an intern back in, 2008, showing my age. But he is one of our ambassador skinks, and he is being trained. So anytime he sees any of us in the room, he wants to come out. And people love him. He's fun to see. We have another female named Akira that we're trying to work on for more program use, but Pup, everybody loves him, and I love him dearly.
Yeah, dude, skinks I love skinks. Like, skinks are super cool.
Yes.
Prehensile tails are really cool. And I think prehensile tails are one of those things that, in my experience, they're impossible to truly explain because, like, you could say, like, they can control them and they can control them like an arm or a finger, but it's not that. It's a bunch of tiny little muscles that they can, like, contract and expand. And the first time I ever really experienced one was with a binturong on my shoulders.
Oh, okay.
And the tail went around my neck. And then as she moved, I could feel all of the little things moving with it. And, like, that's not how an arm moves. You know what I mean? That's not how your finger moves. And it was one of the most fascinating things I have ever experienced, you know. And I'm obsessed with prehensile tails on anything now. And yeah, watching Pup just like desperately wanted to come play with us. And I was like, you can be my best friend. It's cool. Yeah. It's awesome. I love that he's like an older guy, but still so into training and being friendly. And
yeah, he does very well. He's on a training team. And so we have a couple people train him a few times a week, and he absolutely soars at it.
Nice. What kind of stuff?
So target trained. He's trained to also come out on a station. They're working on color discrimination with him. And then also kind of a presentation behavior. So he's got a tree that we can move back and forth for programs, and he just kind of sits on it and can show how he uses his tail and things like that. And he does really well.
Nice. Now, when you say color discrimination.
So it's two different targets. So we have a red one and a green one, and they want him to go to the red one. So we can kind of see what other colors reptiles, can see. So he usually will go to the red one. So we're seeing that he can see the color red. so which is pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah, that's really interesting. Nice. Very cool. Now, I did mention being in love with the diamondback terrapin. And so would you tell me about my friend?
Yes, I believe that's Rover.
Okay.
I did get to work with him for about 10 years before he moved up to the aquarium. Loved him. Love him. He's still here. He is one of our older turtles besides Bone Crusher. He's been here since the late 80s. And
wow.
He's at least in his 30s to 40s. So he's up there. And he is adorable. I love him so much. And the terrapins are really cool because they are found off the North Carolina coast. And they are a good representation of what the differences between turtles and tortoises are. So tortoises are built for land. They're more stalking elephant, where your turtles, like your terrapins, have webbed feet and they're built for swimming, even though they can still come out on land.
Right.
But yeah, Rover's a sweetheart. I absolutely love him.
Yeah. Back in the old days, before this place got all fancy with all the new stuff, his habitat was just like right there. He would stick his face up. And so like I got this picture of him that I'm obsessed with years ago. So it was before Revolution Ridge, before Rossifari had any connection here or anything. And I had like an old iPhone. It wasn't a great one or anything, but he was right there. So I have this picture that I adore, even though like most of my older pictures of animals now, I look at them and I'm like, blah. But like, it didn't have the quality. You know? But it is one of my favorite pictures I think I've ever taken. Oh, and nice. It's just such a gorgeous, the way that they have different patterns and different is just astonishing to me. Yeah, absolutely. So, very cool. So, what was your journey like to get to where you are now?
So I love telling the story. I've always wanted to work with animals. When I was younger, I wanted to, of course, work with killer whales, as everybody, little girl does.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Lisa Frank, killer whales, right? So many sparkles.
So when I graduated high school, I was like, okay, I don't want to do vet. That's just too much schooling. I had actually never really thought about zookeeping. It never really crossed my mind. And then I found a program, it was then the Davidson County Community College Zoo and Aquarium Science program, but now it's Davidson Davy. And it's a 2-year program where you go to facilities and kind of see what it is like for being a zookeeper. Right. And so I applied. I was the youngest in my class because I was right out of high school. And so I actually came to the Science Center for 2 semesters for labs. And so the first semester, you're kind of doing your grunt work, your grounds maintenance, things like that, kind of seeing that side of it. And then the second semester, we went through the animal areas. So my second rotation was herps, and I absolutely loved it. I had no idea I love herps that much. And so I actually left the program in May because I couldn't find an internship for the summer. And then I went to Wilmington and got my bachelor's in marine biology.
Okay.
And so after I graduated from UNCW, the old herp curator, who has now been retired for a while, reached out and said, hey, we have a position opening. Would you like to apply for it? I said, absolutely. And so I was part-time for 3 years. I started in the spring of 2013. I went full-time in the fall of 2016, and here I am.
Nice. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Why herps?
After that rotation, I absolutely love them. I realized that herps have personality.
Yes.
Like our big tortoises, I could both of them. I mean, Jack is like your puppy dog, and Traveler could really care less. He's just like, just give me food. That's all I want. And so I've gotten to work with a lot of different species, and I really enjoy it. I never thought I would have. So, I mean, different types of snakes, Komodo dragons, different types of venomous. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Yeah. And you mentioned Komodo, and obviously Bekah will yell at me if we don't talk about the Komodo here, because, Bekah is obsessed. So tell me.
Cool.
He is cool. You're not wrong.
It's a really cool story, too.
Yeah, so let's share all of that.
So the Komodo dragon we have right now, his name is Hannibal. He is 9 years old. He's about 37 pounds. So he came here in 2022 from Denver Zoo after we lost Drogo that spring. But Hannibal has been a lot of fun. So something cool about him is he is a result of parthenogenesis.
Nice.
So that's where the female dragon does not mate with the male. She basically replicates her DNA and eggs hatch. So that's what he is. So He's 9 years old and only 38 pounds. So Drogo, when he passed away, he was 9 years old and 65 pounds.
Okay.
And so he was a bigger dragon. So I don't know if Hannibal will get as big as what a male dragon can get, but he's still a really cool animal to work with. He enjoys being outside. He is trained. We are protected contact with him, so I never share space. So he's target trained. He's scale trained. He's trained to go into a vet box so we can take x-rays, blood, things like that safely. And so we're actually going to be working some more in the vet box here in the near future for his exam.
Nice. That's really cool. I don't understand, and I'm not expecting that you will. I'm just going to state this, but I don't understand how parthenogenesis then leads to like the opposite sex. That's really fascinating.
So I looked it up because I looked it up because I was also very curious. So like in our chromosomes are XX and XY, so your XY is male, but flip it in dragons, and then that's why it's always males that has resulted in a parthenogenesis case.
Oh, interesting. So it's always, that's even more fascinating. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. Mind blown.
Yeah, I had to do some research because I was like, how does that work? Yeah. And then it's because they're flipped.
That's really fascinating. Oh, I love learning cool stuff like that. Nice. Very cool. So was the decision made to be protected contact? Because I know that with AZA, you can be free or protected.
Yeah.
And a lot kind of do the like straddle the line where they're like, free contact, but like kind of like the wall that you put up with the snake that you were talking about. Yeah. A much larger thing like that is like in the room just in case kind of thing. So how did that decision get made?
So with Drogo, our first dragon, we were able to go in with him. There was always two of us, very similar to what our venom protocol is now. But he got to the point where he was just too big and it was just not safe because we didn't have enough room to move around. And so now with Hannibal, we just like, let's just be safe from the get-go and have protected contact. But I was able to modify holding a little bit to where I could still do training with him and interact with him. Because now we can have VIPs and behind-the-scenes tours because now people could have the chance to feed him. Where before, we couldn't do that, so.
Wow. You would think that my friend Bekah, who's obsessed with it, would have hooked that up and let me feed a Komodo dragon. But weirdly, Bekah has failed me on this. If you heard that noise just now, it wasn't a bird clock. It was my heart shattering.
Oh, no.
Shattering.
Maybe Audrey can take you behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, Audrey always helps me out. This is the one that helps me out. You're just here telling me I'm not allowed to say things.
Okay.
But no, that's actually incredible. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's cool.
Yeah, that was something new. Cool. Yeah, that was something new we started last year because I was like, I want to be able to do more with him since I wasn't able to do that with Drogo. So, but yes.
So when you have people go behind the scenes with a Komodo dragon, what is the response like?
Some people are like, especially when he's up close to the fence, they're wowed. They're like, wow, I didn't realize that that's what he looked like up close or things like that. Or when we're feeding him, they're like, oh, the inside of his mouth is really cool. Because these guys don't have large teeth, so you can't really see them. They have 60 small serrated teeth that are used for shredding. But people getting the chance to feed him and see how excited he is, it's a lot of fun. But some people are still nervous, but I go over precautions, of course, like to stay a certain amount away from the fence and always use tweezers to feed. So things like that.
Cool. I have a friend who works out regularly. He's like 6'4". He's like strong. He's an actor, singer type, whatever. And we were on tour together and we went to Brevard Zoo and they have Komodos there. Not, they're behind glass, right? Yeah. They're not accessible. We were not in a behind the scenes area. Nothing like that. We were just there. And I walked up to the glass and I was like checking out the Komodo. And I was fairly close to the glass, but not even like touching the glass or anything. And this dude screamed and ran.
No.
And he loves animals in general. Like we were hanging out with tortoises and all kinds of other, we'd done some other cool behind the scenes stuff. And like, he's fully on board with animals, but he was so afraid of Komodos that even with glass, even just being on the public side, he screamed and ran. And I was like, do.
Wow.
And he's like, I've seen documentaries on them, man, and like they can F you up. And I'm like, they can be free contact in zoos. And he's like, oh, I'm not free contact with me, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, heard.
Yeah.
But it was one of the funniest things I think
funny.
I've ever seen. Yeah. This dude will be fine with any other animal, but not the Komodo was his fear.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, I found that very interesting. So you work mostly with herps and then lemurs?
Yeah, that was a new thing just within the past month recently. We had to move some strings around because I was with meerkats for 7 years. So those actually left to go to another facility for construction coming up. So they wanted me to have an extra animal to kind of, get some more experience. And lemurs is what it is. So they're very...
That's the enthusiasm that I'm looking for on this podcast.
It's really different compared to herps for sure. I mean, the stuff I learned from meerkats, because their dynamics are very similar to where they're matriarchal, the females are in charge and things like that. So I can take what I learned from them and put it to the lemurs. But of course, we also have 3 radiated tortoises I can mess with and work with. So that's a bonus.
Radiates are cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been a learning experience. It's a good one. It's primates that I never would have worked with. That's as far as I'll go for primates.
I was going to say, I think prosimians are like almost different than others. Like they are primates.
Yeah.
But having spent a lot of time with different lemur species, New World monkeys, and great apes. Like I've spent time with all of these different animals. Lemurs are like their own thing.
Yes.
And I, if I had to choose one group to work with, it would be lemurs kind of by a lot, honestly. So I get that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now I have done an episode featuring the lemurs here, so I know like about the dynamics there and stuff. But so I'm curious, as somebody new coming into that string, and especially someone who is working with all these animals that, like you said, like there are certain animals you just can't train.
Yeah.
And now the lemurs are super well trained and need it.
Yes.
You need to be working with them for their enrichment, for their mental health, for their physical health. What has that been like for you?
Again, it's been a learning experience because with the meerkats, I was able to do some behaviors, but with these guys, it's a little bit more intense and a lot more behaviors. So I really enjoyed training. Like I said, with the dragon, I got him to go into a vet box, and a year ago, March, we were able to get blood for the first time. So we were able to train for that. So it's stuff, that I know I can take into this. And then a lot of the behaviors they already know are already maintenance. So they don't have to go through a shaping plan or anything like that. But there are a few behaviors that the keeper previously told me that I could possibly start trying to work with. And so I look forward to that to see if I can shape it and work it to be a viable behavior.
You know what I'm going to ask then. What are some of those? What are you hoping to do?
One of them was a shoot behavior, so they could do a voluntary injection.
And who's your favorite?
Let's see, we've got...
See, Bekah sits in this room, and I'm going to ask questions. She does this a lot.
We got Rocky, Royce, Karina, and Jude.
Karina is Karina. But Royce is my close second because Royce has been here since I was also an intern, so I've known him quite a long time.
That's cool, though. That's cool. That's a lot of fun. So I that's one thing I love about herps and about like certain primates and stuff like is that they'll be around forever and you can just build those relationships over time and that's cool. That's really special. Like I said, we've already done stuff on the lemurs here, so I don't want to go too deep, but 2 species, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and red ruffed?
Yep, red ruffed and ringtailed.
Ringtailed, cool. Those are, red ruffed are my favorite lemurs that I have spent time with so far. I get excited when I see some of the rarer ones in zoos, like collared and stuff, or, fat-tailed dwarf lemurs, whatever. but red ruffs just make me happy.
Yeah.
They're very goobery. Very cool. So... working with herps, and you've mentioned this already a little bit, but I assume that you're going to be involved with the whole biodome situation. So what are your thoughts on that? And
I hope to be involved as much as I can. I know staffing or whatever, we're not sure what will happen, but I would love to be involved with all the herps that we're getting. I know we're supposed to get Galapagos tortoises,
That's
which
so
I'm
cool.
very excited about. I already worked with Aldabras, so I'm really excited to work with Galops. And then a few other herp species we're supposed to bring in, but I'm very excited about it.
That's cool. So are you like what kind of herp girl are you? Are you turtle tort? Are you snake? Are you frog? We are recording this on World Frog Day, so
I love all herps. It's really hard to say. I think for a while I was turtle tortoises. I still kind of am because I love those guys. But now I've kind of leaned more toward the dragon side.
Okay.
And I still love frogs. I work with two of them that I absolutely adore.
Okay, well, tell me about your frogs then. I mean, it is World Frog Day. We should celebrate.
Yeah, we've got a white tree frog. I've worked with 4. And they're the most derpy frogs. And I love to feed him. He is so personable for a frog.
Nice.
And other keepers love him.
Aww.
Yeah, even our vet staff are like, hey, Toby. They love him so much.
That's so cool.
And then our dart frog is a yellow and black dart frog who we've had for a very long time. His name's Amor because he's got a heart-shaped black spot on his head.
Nice.
He's been around a long time. So our goal for the biodome is to have our emerald tree boa, who we have been holding, and dart frog to go together, a mixed species, which we've done here before and it's worked. So I'm looking forward to getting more dart frogs.
Nice. Okay. And no concern about the dart frogs becoming dart food?
Nope.
Okay.
No, our tree boa has left him alone.
Nice.
So.
Nice. Are tree boas vegetarian?
No.
I'm kidding.
So I've got a picture of the yellow and black just sitting on the snake, and it's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually really like that. That's really cool. That's actually one of the things that I find so fascinating about zoos and aquariums in general is you'll see mixed species exhibits, especially in aquariums, especially where you get like sharks and rays and fish together. But as long as they're well fed, they don't want to hunt. They don't want to fight. They want to, they're door dashing, why would you cook when you can door dash?
Right? I know.
And it's been interesting to learn that. It's actually shaped a lot of, not to get all weirdly philosophical for a second, but it shaped a lot of my view on there's this pendulum in zoos and aquariums as far as like how naturalistic we need to be versus how much we don't, and how much we can focus on a certain level of anthropomorphism that can be good for stuff without going too far versus like having none of that and all of these things. And I personally think that things like that kind of serve to show that just because something happens in the wild doesn't mean it's what's best for an animal in the wild or whatever. It just means that's what they are forced to do.
Yeah.
Most animals, when given the choice to hunt or not, will not hunt. Now, some will. There are animals where they've done tests where like if you put out food and you put food in a puzzle box, they will go for the puzzle box and stuff like that. There are some, but a lot of them won't. And it's like, well, is that why are, do elephants walk as far as they do in a day because they have to or because they want to? It's an interesting question and one that we can't answer. But yeah, so I think it's interesting when you look at those mixed species things, when you see a boa that could easily chow down. You put it into a buffet, but then you feed it well, you take care of it properly. It's not going to exert the energy to do that when you're going to give it a mouse every couple days or whatever its particular, And I've always found that very interesting, just something I like to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So outside, I love asking this question, and especially with herp people. Outside of your herps, you are in a facility with a ton of animals.
Yes.
What is or are some of your favorites?
Man, it's really hard.
And herps and other departments don't count.
Darn. Okay. I've grown to love our barnyard animals. I know it's, they're just goats and sheep. But I have helped in that area for a long time now, so I've really grown close to those. So I really enjoy seeing them every day. I also really enjoy going up to the aquarium and seeing like the sharks and rays and seeing those tanks because I always wanted to somehow be in the aquarium side of animal care. But of course, I enjoy what I do now. And I got to do a little bit of that when I had aquatic tanks downstairs. But still getting to be able to go up and just kind of relax and watch those animals is really cool. I guess the pandas, that's kind of
good answer.
because they're cute. But I haven't got to work with them, but I do enjoy watching them when, we've done stuff with them before. So that's a very hard question.
I know. I love asking that one. It's so much fun. But yeah, no, Panda is a good answer. As one of the executive committee members of Safe Red Panda, I approve.
Okay.
Just so you know. But yeah, no, good job. Good job. Here's your $10. Thanks.
Awesome.
Cool. So is there anything else that you want to say about your time here, about the job that you do here, or any of that good stuff?
I've really enjoyed my time here, and I hope to be here for, a long time. I've just really enjoyed being able to talk to people about reptiles, and I also enjoy, if we find a wild copperhead on property, I'm usually one of the ones that, relocates it, and people ask all kinds of questions and things like that. So it's been a lot of fun, and I've got to work with, as I said before, a lot of species, but then also a lot of different people, and just getting their experiences and their advice on things. So it's been a lot of fun.
Nice. Do you, that actually brings up an interesting question when you talk about especially wild copperheads and stuff. You're handling these venomous animals, right? What kind of training goes into that? How often do you have to re-up that? Is that a thing you have to re-up? Is that something that, since you do it every day, it's just kind of like you know how to do? Talk to me about the venomous side of it.
Yeah, so for me, when I first started, our curator and the keeper at that time, they trained me on how to properly work with the venomous, especially on exhibit. And then when we would find them out in the wild, I would always go and watch and see how they worked with wild snakes. And then over time, they've left. So it has kind of fallen on my shoulders to be the one to kind of train people here that are interested in learning how to work with these snakes. So with the wild ones, I never, or even with our captive ones, I don't handle them necessarily. I do have hooks and tongs that I use for safety. So if we find a wild one on property, I'll take a hook and a bucket with a lid and try and get it into the bucket, and then I'll relocate it off property away from people. But for training, there are people that have to, for those who want to learn venom training, they have to go through a process. So we have two different types. We have primary and then secondary. So primary is the one, as I said before, that would work with the snake, the block. The second one would always be the one to change water, take temps. So secondary training, you have to do 3 days, with one with me and then 2 with other keepers, because I want to see how they work with other people when I'm not there.
Smart.
And then the primary is 5 days, because I want to see how you react if the snake is kind of, a little crazy that day or just not cooperating. And so that's 5 days. So usually I'm directing them for the first 3, and then the next 2, I want to see how they react or go with another person that's not me. And then if they do well and understand the protocols, then they're signed off. Now, if somebody just wants to do secondary, that's fine. They don't have to do primary. But it is something, I don't really have to re-up it. It's not like it expires or anything, but I do try to bring different people in with me so they stay fresh with the training.
That's very cool. Nice. Very cool. Is there a conservation organization that you would like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, to the Komodo Survival Program. We did do a Coins of Conservation with them a few years ago, so I've really enjoyed with that. I've always tried to find a way to work with Komodo Conservation, since, of course, we have one, but I haven't been able to find one yet, but definitely the Komodo Survival Program.
Cool. And then it is time. It's time now, don't you know? We've come to the end of the show, but there's one tale left to go. You're gonna laugh and say, oh no. It's time for the Rossifari poop story.
Oh man, poop story. Probably the one that just happened. It's not really poop, but we had to take our cottonmouth out in January for an exam. And cottonmouths are very notorious for musking to keep people away. I tubed him. I grabbed him, pulled him out. I got musk all in my face.
Oh.
And all over my sweatshirt.
Oh, no.
And so when we got down to the hospital, I tried to wipe it off, but I could still smell it on my sweatshirt.
Oh.
I was like, you got to go into the wash. It was so gross.
Ew, that's no fun at all.
No, I'd rather it be poop than musk.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time to do this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
All right, right, so there you have it, folks. Man, it was so nice to be able to get Greensboro Science Center back on for a couple weeks here at the start of season 7. I am so grateful to the relationship that I have with that facility and all the people there, and it's all because of Audrey. And now you got to hear her story, which just makes me so dang happy. So yeah, I enjoyed that one. Still no hoodie, in case anyone was wondering, in case you thought maybe during the interview. But I will tell you this. While there was no hoodie, I did get to go have some dragon time, and it was really amazing. You want to talk about an incredible animal to get to spend some time with? That was special, y'all. So, as always, grateful for all the cool experiences I get to have and the insight that I get from those experiences. Komodo dragons are no joke, y'all, but at the same time, they're possibly bit doofy at times in the cutest way. I don't know. I loved it. It was amazing. So yeah, grateful to all of the people at Greensboro. Also grateful to all of my supporters, whether it's by listening, following, or those who support on Patreon. I'm so thankful to all of my patrons, especially my Red Level Panda patrons, Dr. Laura Schenk, Dr. Stephen Williamson, Barbara Bennett, Jenny Owens, Melissa Reed, Carrie Kirkpatrick, John Lewis, Kevin Williams, and Cormac McMuffin. Meow. And yeah, with all of that said, we'll be back on Friday with the new Zoo News episode. Hopefully I will not have broken my brain because of the stress and craziness of this week, which I know I mentioned last week on Zoo News. And we'll be back then on Friday. So until then, remember, friends, the word credits backwards is Diderk. The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John. Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo.